She hugged me when I got promoted. 2 weeks later, she'd told everyone at work I didn't deserve it. Let me ask you something. Is there someone in your life right now, a friend, a family member, a coworker, where something just feels off? They say the right things. They show up to the right events. They post the right comments on your photos, but something underneath all of that doesn't sit. Right with you, you can't name it, you can't prove it, but you feel it. That quiet discomfort you feel, it has a name. And today, I'm going to give you the exact psychological blueprint for what jealousy really looks like. Not the dramatic movie version jealousy where someone throws a drink in your face. I'm talking about the sophisticated, weaponized, disguised jealousy, the kind that smiles at your face while whispering against you behind your back. By the end of this video, you will never miss the signs again. We're going through 10 hidden behaviors backed by psychology that reveal someone is secretly jealous of your success. And I promise you, at least 3 of these are going to make you stop and think of a specific person. Stay until sign 7. Because that one is the most dangerous and almost no one talks about it. Let's get into it. Before we get to the signs, you need to understand why jealousy is so hard to spot. Because here's what nobody tells you. Jealous people are often the most charming people in the room. They have to be. See, jealousy, real, deep, festering jealousy, comes with a partner's shame. Nobody wants to admit they are envious of someone they're supposed to love or support. So what do? They perform support, they perform happiness for you, they perform friendship. Psychologists call this benign envy masking, where a person consciously presents warmth and encouragement while subconsciously working to maintain a sense of superiority or sabotage your progress. The scariest part, many of them don't even realize they're doing it. Their actions aren't always calculated, they're emotional. They feel something dark when you win, and their behavior starts shifting, sometimes in tiny, almost invisible ways. That's what we're here to decode. Because your intuition has probably already flagged someone, you're just looking for the confirmation. And after today, you won't need anyone else to validate what you already know. Sign 1, the backhanded compliment trap, and this one is so common, so normalized that most people brush past it without blinking. The backhanded compliment, here's what it sounds like. Oh wow, you bought a new car, that's so brave considering your salary. You look amazing. I could never eat that little. Congrats on the promotion, I'm surprised they finally gave it to you. Notice what just happened there. On the surface, a compliment. Underneath, a needle. Every backhanded compliment is a 2-part weapon. Part 1 gets past your defenses because it sounds nice. Part 2 lands the actual blow, the implied insult, the doubt, the dig. And the genius cruelty of it is this: if you react, you look oversensitive. I was just complimenting you, why are you so defensive? Psychologists call this hostile appreciation, a verbal pattern where genuine envy is disguised as praise to avoid social consequences. Here's your test: after they compliment you, do you feel better or worse? If you walk away from their praise feeling vaguely deflated, like something was taken from you instead of given, that is not a coincidence, that is a signal. The person who genuinely celebrates your success makes you feel expanded when they praise you. The person who secretly resents it will always leave you feeling smaller, even when they're technically saying nice things. Watch for this pattern. It rarely happens just once. Sign 2, they suddenly get busy when you win. Sign number 2 is subtle. You might have already experienced it and written it off as timing. They disappear after your victories. You got the job. You launched the business, you got engaged, you finished the degree. And suddenly the person who was always texting you, always available, always in your corner, radio silence. They're busy, they forgot to respond. They saw the message but things got crazy. Then 2 weeks later, when the excitement has died down and the spotlight has shifted, they're back, normal. Like nothing happened. Here's the psychological truth behind this pattern. Witnessing someone else's success triggers something painful in people who compare themselves to you. And for a jealous person, your win is a mirror, and they hate what they see in it. So they remove themselves not to hurt you intentionally, but to protect themselves from having to perform happiness they don't feel. It's avoidance, emotional cowardice wrapped in a busy schedule. The tell, it's pattern-based. One disappearance could be life. But if every major win in your life is followed by a sudden drop in their availability and they always re-emerge once things have settled, you're not dealing with a busy person. You're dealing with someone who can't stand in your light. Sign 3, they minimize your achievement. This one hits different when it comes from someone close to you. They minimize what you've accomplished. You tell them about something incredible you did, and instead of match your energy, they flatten it. Oh, that's cool, my cousin did something similar last year. Yeah, a lot of people are doing that now. I mean, it's not that hard, right? You just had to. What they're doing is called achievement dilution. They reframe your win as ordinary, common, or easily replicated, because if your success is special, it forces them to confront why they haven't achieved it. By making your wins small, they make themselves feel even again. This is especially painful when it comes from a parent, a sibling, or a close friend, because those are the people whose recognition means the most to you. And a jealous person in that role will often unconsciously withhold that recognition to maintain psychological power. Here's what makes this sign particularly insidious. They often don't say negative things about what you did, they just say, less. They respond with the emotional equivalent of a shrug. And you're left in this weird limbo. Technically, they didn't say anything bad, but the conversation left you feeling invisible. Trust that feeling. People who genuinely root for you find a way to make your wins feel real. They ask questions. They get excited. They remember the details later and bring them up again. A jealous person moves on from your success as quickly as possible. Because for them, the faster it's behind them, the sooner they feel like themselves again. Play sign 4, the copy and compete pattern. Now, we're getting into the signs that most people completely miss. Sign 4, they start copying you, then competing with you. This is one of the most psychologically fascinating expressions of jealousy, because on the surface it looks like flattery. They start dressing like you, using your ideas, launching their own version of something you started, suddenly picking up the hobby you told them about, going after the same goals you mentioned, and at first maybe it feels good. Imitation is flattery, right? But here's where it turns. A person who copies out of admiration will celebrate you. They'll tell you, you inspired me. They'll credit you. They'll cheer you on as you both pursue the same thing. A person who copies out of jealousy will turn it into a race. Suddenly they need to be further along than you. They need to be better at it than you. And when they catch up or surpass you in some small way, they'll make absolutely sure you know. Why? Because jealousy at its core is a comparison disease. It's rooted in measuring one's worth relative to another person. So the jealous copycat isn't actually passionate about what they're pursuing, they're passionate about beating you. Watch what happens when you advance further. Do they celebrate with you, or do they double down and pull away? That answer will tell you everything. Play sign 5, they bring up your failures a lot. Sign 5. And this one is delivered with a smile, which makes it particularly venomous. They bring up your old failures, frequently, casually, and publicly. Remember when you tried to do that business thing and it didn't work out? Huh, that was rough for you. You were so lost back then. I'm glad you finally figured things out. It took you a while, but you got there. These statements carry a memory of your weakness into every interaction. And here's the cruelty of it, they're often said with warmth, laughingly, as if it's an inside joke between friends. But a truly supportive person who loves you doesn't repeatedly resurface your lowest moments. They let those chapters close. They don't use your past pain as conversational currency. A jealous person clings to your failures because your failures are their comfort. When you were struggling, the gap between you and them felt smaller, maybe even reversed. And subconsciously, they want to keep that version of you alive. Because your current success is threatening, but your old failure was safe. This pattern is also a subtle form of psychological anchoring, keeping you tethered to an older, lesser version of yourself so that your current growth feels less legitimate. Don't let anyone do that to you. The people who are truly in your corner don't need to remind you where you came from. They're too busy celebrating where you're going. Sign 6, your good news makes them uncomfortable. We're halfway through. And this next sign is one I want you to feel, not just intellectually understand. Not sad, not angry, uncomfortable. There's a specific look. A micro-expression that flickers across their face before the performance of happiness kicks in. You've seen it, the almost imperceptible flinch, the slight stiffening of the jaw. The pause that's a half-second too long before they say, "Oh wow, that's great." Psychologists who study envy describe this as the subjective pain response to another's fortune, and it is a real, measurable physiological event. When a jealous person hears good news about you, their body responds as if receiving bad news about themselves, because in their internal economy it is bad news. Your rise feels like their fall. What does this look like in practice? You share your news, they immediately pivot to themselves. They tell you a story about their recent win, or they ask questions that subtly probe for what could go wrong. Or they go flat and quiet and change the subject. What it rarely looks like is genuine, uncomplicated joy for you. Here's a simple experiment. Next time you have good news, share it with 2 different people. Notice who immediately centers themselves and who stays focused on you and your moment. That contrast will be illuminating. Sign 7, they give you bad advice on purpose. I told you to pay attention to sign 7. Here it is. And I want to be careful here, because this is the most nuanced sign on this list and also the most damaging. They give you advice that leads you away from your success. Subtle. Disguised as concern, wrapped in the language of I just want what's best for you. I don't know, that opportunity seems risky. Have you thought about what happens if it doesn't work? Are you sure you're ready for that level? You might want to wait until you have more experience. That person you're networking with, I heard they're not that well connected. Is it really worth your time? Now listen, sometimes people give you cautious advice because they genuinely love you and worry. Here's how you tell the difference. A person who's truly in your corner gives you balanced counsel. They acknowledge the risk and the opportunity. They trust your judgment. And when you make the call, even if it scares them, they support you. A jealous person's advice has a consistent directional bias. It always steers you toward less, smaller moves, lower risks. Delayed starts because the most effective form of sabotage doesn't look like sabotage, it looks like wisdom. If someone in your life has a pattern of advising you away from your best opportunities, and those opportunities have succeeded when you've ignored their advice, stop taking counsel from that. They are not your advisor, they are your ceiling. Play sign 8, the silent treatment after your success. Sign 8, they give you the cold shoulder after a major win without explanation. You'd think people would become warmer towards someone they love after a success. You'd think the energy would go up. But for someone secretly jealous, it goes in the opposite direction. After your win, they become distant, short in their responses. They don't ask follow-up questions, they don't bring it up again. They're present, but there's a wall, and here's what makes this so destabilizing. You have no reason they'd give you, you haven't fought, you haven't done anything wrong, you just succeeded. And now something feels broken between you two, and you don't understand why. This is called withholding behavior, a passive expression of resentment where the person can't articulate or justify their feelings, so they withdraw. Connection as an unconscious punishment. The most painful thing about this sign is what it does to you, because if you're like most people, you'll begin to doubt your success. You'll wonder if you did something wrong. You'll soften yourself, downplay your win, try to restore harmony by making yourself smaller. Don't. The chill you feel from them is not a reflection of your worth. It is a reflection of their wound. Play sign 9, they celebrate harder when you fail. Sign 9. This one requires honesty to recognize and courage to accept. Their energy is noticeably different when things go wrong for you. Not dramatic, they don't throw a party, they don't say I told you so, at least not immediately. But there's a lightness that comes over them when you struggle. A sudden warmth, an increase in availability. Oh no, I'm so sorry, tell me everything, let's talk. Come over. The same person who went quiet during your promotion is now deeply engaged in your setback. Why? Because your failure recalibrates the comparison, it closes the gap. And for someone who has been quietly tormented by your success, your struggle brings them relief. This is called malicious joy, or in German Schadenfreude, the psychological experience of pleasure derived from another's misfortune. And research shows it is heavily correlated with envy. The people who envy you the most will often be the most emotionally available when you're hurting. Pay attention to who shows up in your darkness and who went silent in your light. That contrast is the most accurate map of your real circle. Play sign 10, the subtle undermining in public, the final sign, and this is the one that often does the most long-term damage. They undermine you in public in front of people who matter. This doesn't look like open disrespect. It's surgical. It's an eye roll when you're speaking that only 2 people catch. It's correcting a minor detail of your story in front of your boss. It's sharing a funny anecdote about your past mistake with your new friends. It's talking over you in meetings or redirecting credit. Or forgetting to mention you were the one who came up with the idea. Each incident in isolation looks like nothing. You'd sound paranoid bringing it up. I was just clarifying, I thought it was funny. I didn't think you'd mind. I didn't realize you wanted credit for that, but patterns don't lie. If you notice that around a specific person, your reputation takes small. Consistent hits, if people's perception of you subtly shifts when they've been spending time with this person, you are not imagining it. You're experiencing a campaign, and the most important thing you can do is stop. Confiding in them, stop giving them material, because the best weapon you can take away from a jealous person is access. Play what to do now that you know, so now you have the signs. And chances are a few people came to mind. Here's what I want you to do with that information carefully. Step 1. Don't confront without patterns. One incident is not evidence. A cluster of repeated behaviors. Across time and context, that is a pattern. Build your case with clarity, not emotion. Step 2. Adjust your access, not your success. The answer is never to shrink yourself. The answer is to curate who gets close. You don't owe everyone a front row seat to your life. Step 3. Stop announcing. Jealous people can't weaponize what they don't know. Learn to move quietly. Let results speak. Share wins selectively with people who have proven they can celebrate with you. Step 4. Extend compassion from a distance. Here's the truth about jealous people: most of them are in pain. Their envy is not really about you. It's about their own unmet desires, unfulfilled potential, and fear that they're falling behind. That is a heavy thing to carry. You can feel compassion for that, while still protecting your peace. Step 5. Invest more in your real ones. This is the most important step, because this video isn't really about the jealous people. It's about helping you identify who your real people are so you can pour more into those relationships. The people who light up when you win, who call to check on your dreams, who remember the things you told them 6 months ago, and follow up, who celebrate you without an agenda. Those are the people your energy belongs to. Play closing, the hard truth about your circle. I want to leave you with this. Your success is going to change your relationships. That is not a warning, it is a fact. As you grow, as your income increases, your confidence expands, your life gets bigger and bolder. Some people will not be able to grow with you, not because they're bad people, but because your growth holds up a mirror to their stagnation, and that is not your responsibility to fix. You are not obligated to stay small to make someone else comfortable. You are not responsible for managing someone else's jealousy. Your only obligation is to keep moving forward, with integrity, with excellence, and with a circle that is worthy of the version of you that you're becoming. The most dangerous thing you can do with this information is use it to become suspicious of everyone. The goal is discernment, not paranoia. Trust slowly. Observe carefully, invest wisely, and never let someone else's inability to celebrate you convince you that you are not worth celebrating, because you are. If this video opened your eyes, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Drop in the comments which sign hit closest to home for you. You don't have to name anyone, just the number. I read every comment. If you're new here, this is what we do. We study people, we protect our peace, and we grow on purpose. Subscribe, hit the bell, and I'll see you in the next one.